Data Center, Professional, JNCIP-DC, JN0-682 exam dumps questions are the latest version in the whole market. Share some updated Juniper JN0-682 exam dumps here. 1. You are an architect for an enterprise organization that currently operates 3 data centers with plans to expand to 5 data centers in the next year. You already notice large amounts of BUM flooding and must control this issue before implementing the next 2 data centers. Which feature would address this issue? A. Type 5 routes. B. Type 6 routes. C. Mesh groups. D. VXLAN BUM traffic filter. 2. A client with 5 data centers spread around the country uses MPLS-L2 VPNs to provide point-to-point data center interconnect between each data center in a full mesh network. The client is considering an MPLS-even implementation. In this scenario, what are 3 advantages of using MPL5-even interconnects? Choose 2. A. They provide for static configuration that does not require a dynamic routing protocol. B. They provide for a local proxy ARP, ND resolution. C. They provide for point-to-multipoint connectivity. D. They provide for a MAC learning in the control plane. E. They provide for lower transmission latency. 3. You are building an IP fabric underlay network for your new data center. You must ensure that you have predictable load balancing behavior throughout your network. According to Juniper Networks, what are 2 best practices that should be followed in this scenario? Choose 2. A. All leaf devices must be identical to the spine device models, including the same installed line cards. B. All spine devices should be identical models including the same installed line cards. C. Every leaf device should have an identical uplink to every other leaf device. D. Every leaf device should have an identical uplink to every spine device. 4. Which 2 statements are true virtual chassis? Choose 2. A. By default, Juno switches are in non-mixed mode virtual chassis. B. The request virtual chassis mode fabric reboot command will set the virtual chassis to fabric mode with similar devices. C. By default, Juno switches are in a mixes mode virtual chassis. D. The request virtual chassis mode fabric reboot command will set the virtual chassis to mixed mode. 5. Which EVPN router type prevents BUM traffic from looping back to a multi-hued host? A. Ethernet segment router. B. IP prefix route. C. Ether auto discovery route. D. Inclusive multicast Ethernet tag route. 6. You have a 2-spine and 4-leaf CRB topology and you must ensure that the hosts connected to the leaf devices have reachability to all IRB interface addresses, including the local spine IRB addresses, and the virtual gateway address. Which 2 configuration parameters must be used to accomplish this task? Choose 2. A. Configure a spine-to-spine BGP peering as part of the overlay. B. Configure virtual gateway accept data under the IRB interface. C. Configure a spine-to-spine EVPN peering as part of the routing instance. D. Configure proxy MACIP advertisement under the IRB interface. 7. You are configuring an EVPN overlay network. You want to ensure that leaf devices can respond to ARP requests from locally connected hosts when the leaf device knows the MAC of the intended destination. In this scenario, what should you configure on the leaf devices to accomplish this task? A. Proxy ARP. B. Static ARP entries. C. Persistent MAC learning. D. IGMP snooping. 8. What is an advantage that EVPN has over VPLS when used for DCI? A. Mass MAC withdrawal. B. Transparent BPDU transport. C. Active, standby multihoming. D. Reverse path forwarding. 9. You want to configure redundant Layer 3 gateways. In this scenario, which two Juniper best practices would accomplish this task? Choose 2. A. Allowing Junos to dynamically create the virtual MAC address of the IRB interface. B. Configuring both IRB interfaces manually with the same IP address. C. Configuring both IRB interfaces manually with the same address. D. Allowing Junos to dynamically create the virtual IP address of the IRB interface. 10. You are deploying an eBGP IP fabric. In this scenario, which statement is true? A. Each spine should peer with every other spine using physical addresses. B. Each spine should peer with each leaf using loopback addresses. C. Each spine should peer with every other spine using loopback addresses. D. Each spine should peer with each leaf using physical addresses.